Ladies and gentlemen, with that beautiful teaser for Series 2 of the SwiftX Championship Series, it's time to round out Series 1, and where better to do it than Abu Dhabi for the final round, round 16 of the SwiftX Racing Series. And in terms of the drivers, we've got some all-star players, some all-star racers, and points to prove up and down the field. It's a unique track reprofiled very recently to DRS zones, and honestly, quite a flat track. I think it's almost deceptive sometimes with especially the reprofiling of certain corners like the hairpin and the multi-apex. It's almost deceiving in a way how flat the track actually is. We get a little bit fooled by that turns 1 to 4 segment, but it's not much in the way of undulation, and when so much is on the line, drivers don't want to leave anything to chance. Of course, joining me in the commentary box is Mr. Dean Beagles. How are you doing, my friend? It's good to see you.
Absolutely pumped and excited there, Mr. Benjamin, because it's the finale, of course. 15 grueling races. It comes down to this. The sun is going to set on the SwiftX Motor Series, of course, presented by Digital Motorsports and, of course, our friends over at NordVPN. You're right, it is a very, very flat man-made. A lot of things are man-made here in the United Arab Emirates. Of course, they head up there to Dubai, or if you want to go to Ferrari World, that's just right next to the track. But I'll tell you what, Benjamin, if you want elevations and changes, my friend, let's go about a kilometer away from the track, mate. There's lots of sand dunes that we can take those buggies on, but they're not suited for a Formula 1 car.
Yeah, it's a shame, really. I think a Formula 1 car on some off-road tyres, some jacked-up suspension, we might see some interesting results. Certainly curious to see what that would be like, that's for sure. We've seen F1 cars on city streets. Heck, we've seen F1 cars in the snow. Red Bull, especially, no stranger to those kind of publicity stunts. I think it was... I can't remember what car it was, but it was one of the old generation cars with snow chains on wet tyres, firing it up a mountain. It was spectacular. Not sure if you ever saw that.
I've seen one, believe it or not, years ago here in Panama City down the main streets. And Red Bull did one of those promotions. They did it right down the main street of Panama City as well too, which is quite interesting because the tanks were rolling down there during the invasion back on Christmas Day for Noriega, and then later on, many years later, they roll those Red Bulls down there. Well, we are rolling the cars into Q2 as they've skipped to Q1. We're going to get a Q2 session going on so we can narrow that 15 down to 10 for the final time we're going to be doing this season. It's going to be a very bit sad, isn't it, there, Benjamin? We have a little bit of a pause, but I'm looking forward to that new season coming up soon as well.
It's a little bit bittersweet, and of course it is only the first series, and I don't think that anyone can deny that the momentum we've got, the support we've got, not only, say, from viewers, but also from drivers, from, say, the team back end who really bring everything together, as well as, of course, our beautiful sponsors like NordVPN, bringing it all together. It really is a testament to what people can do. Just, you give them the love of racing, you give them the tools to show it, and what you get out, especially as we come through to what could be a climactic title decider, you get something special.
Can you imagine the nerves going through two of those drivers specifically tonight? Jasper ten Haken and Imar Dogovic. Like, the title's on the line, isn't it? And it's a showdown. Doesn't kind of remind you, doesn't it, recently of the Lewis Hamilton versus Max Verstappen? Max, is it going to be one of those moments, do you think, Ben? Is it going to come down to last lap shenanigans? No Michael Massey, FIA. Well, FIA are in control, of course, if they do go off the track, they have the limits, but who knows? I'm going to be looking forward to this.
I'm certainly looking forward to this as well. It is, although it's nowhere near as a battle, because I mean, it's 11 points between the two, it's still a pretty close fight. Of course, you have Emir Durikovic coming in. AlphaTauri was in Ferrari to start with, but of course had a bit of a break from the season, really had to sort of fight their way back up, re-establish that form, has done so very well, I might add. However, with that hiatus, that allowed the likes of Ten Haken to take that championship by the reins, and now there is a quite strong momentum behind the AlphaTauri, but is it going to be enough to recover from lost time?
apparently behind the scenes, I heard that the negotiation of the contracts, he wasn't happy with the Ferrari contract. He wanted to exit from it. They elected, obviously, that, all right, I'm going to re-sign with another team. He elected to re-sign with the AlphaTauri team, and they paid him the money that he required. So that's good to see. And, well, whatever works, whatever floats your boat. You can believe it or not. And never seen a Ferrari driver re-sign to an AlphaTauri, but welcome along to SwiftX, of course. And NordVPN is going to provide you that entertainment all night long as we get into the early parts of the qualifying 2 shootout. We're going to lose 5 of these top dogs, and we'll go down to a top-down shootout.
Yes, we're on board with that AlphaTauri right now. It almost feels like in SwiftX, the magic isn't once in a lifetime. The magic is weekly. Everyone is absolutely bringing their A game here. We're on board with the AlphaTauri to show us just how to do it. It's a statement of commitment. Will Casson coming in 123.6, setting the initial tone. Lapalainen 4 seconds behind, probably on a burner lap or made a mistake at some point through. Bashford comes in with a 124.4, so quite an early variation in pace, but not enough to really set a bar as far as timing goes. Cameron Sell and Thomas Hardwick are coming through 6 and 8 tenths behind the race leader, or the qualifying leader, I should say. Korsgaard, though, second driver to sneak under the 123 barrier. AJ Jackson on the mediums, going for a 126 flat. But as we come through with the AlphaTauri through the final sector, looking
this
very
is going to be
close
bingo.
to the track.
Get ready to shout bingo, Ben, because it's going to be bingo on the top of the timesheets. It's going to strike all the 3 sectors off, and this will be the quickest time. Bang, a 23. That's 2 tenths quicker than everybody else. He's out. He's out for a statement. He's out for the championship.
He's going hunting, and boys, he got a good catch. It's 123.4, and that is going to be the top spot so far, and a real strong opening statement in quali. Ilakorpi gets a 130.3, not the best lap, one to forget for the Ferrari. And so far, you've got both Mercedes, an AlphaTauri, and a Alfa Romeo in Larson down at the bottom.
Yeah, you have to set times, of course, or invalidate their time. AJ's back, of course, and AJ's been one of those drivers to look out for. We know that's been one of the most improved drivers towards the end of the season. He did that qualifying lap, 2.6 seconds, and changed down the road on mediums. Everybody else is on, and EJ Lapalainen is out.
Yeah, what's happened to Lapalainen?
He's just retired in the pit lane. That is not a FIA crash on track or anything like that. So whatever's happened to V2 Lapalainen, I hope they get that sorted out before they get the race. Keep an eye on Larzi at the moment in P13, yet to set a time, but he set the fastest middle sector. The Alfa Romeo showing some promise.
Yes, looks that's an Alpine off the side of the track. Oh, Larson getting a little bit squirrely coming out the exit. And as it comes through the final corner, he's got to really nail that throttle down. Gets it away. It's enough for P3. It sneaks down under the 124 barrier to 123.960. I have to wonder, though, why did Lapalainen retire, considering he's only in P9? He's not got a safe spot there.
No, I know. I think that's a technical issue or something like that. We'll have to check down the garage there, or maybe someone will let us know the feedback there. And welcome along, everybody, in the chat. Of course, we love reading the chat. I'll read that out as much as I can. I'll relay that, of course, to Benjamin. That'll be doing all our fantastic production work behind the scenes, control on cameras, doing basically everything that 200 people, at least in a regular Formula 1 race, would be doing. Ben does it all by himself. So give us any feedback if you know from the drivers, and I'll relay it there. 8 minutes and change to go for our qualify session. All the banker laps are in for most of the drivers. Of course, Lenny Cook, Luke, and Jasper, Takan Jasper. I'm going to keep an eye on I think you want to keep an eye on Jasper, mate, because let's see if he's going to respond, of course, to the man he's butting the championship with. That's on top of the timesheets.
He's on board with Jasper Takan right now. Going to see our main championship protagonist, how goes on the defensive here in Abu Dhabi. See exactly how he brings the pace to the table. And really, with this track especially, you can really say it for all of them, but especially here at Abu Dhabi, it's all about the curvatures. It's all about where there's very little undulation in terms of the track surface. You really got to put everything into nailing that line, especially on the multi-apex sections, where as soon as you're coming out one corner, you're setting up for the next. You need to be in that prime position, and really that combined with your top speed is what's going to make the biggest differences in quali.
Great casting minds think alike. I was just about to say, I was just about to answer that one with, what about top speed there, Ben? But you called it. Because top speed so much at the moment, there's Cameron 333. That long backstroke between 7 and 8, of course, and you can have really count the exit out of 9 or something all the way down to 10, 11 and stuff. That's also another one. And that's one to look out for at the moment. Jasper's on that flying lap, 6th and 7th gear, making his way up to about 300 and so Ks. Won't get there, of course. Go underneath the hotel. It's quite noisy next to that hotel. And there's a theme park a little bit next to it, but out of the exit there and close as you can to that barrier. Drop it down for a couple more corners and see the final corner right now. See what sort of time you can put on the timing boards there, Ben.
It's coming through across the line there. It's going to be a solid lap, and it's enough for P3. There you go. It's a 123.8. Just nudges Larson down the pecking order to P4. He's going to assert himself in a podium just behind, of course, Mir Durekovic and Will Kasson. Great run there from the Mercedes. Can his teammate bring the match? That's the question. Or are we going to see potentially some shakeups in the order? One can only hope.
You're going to find out for the last time tonight, that's it, because that will be no more races, as AJ says in the chat that he hasn't played in a couple of weeks. You haven't actually, AJ, but it's good to see you on the grid again tonight. Haven't seen you around for a little bit. They're all on soft tyres now, not gambling anymore on their Q2. Of course, 5 will be knocked out. We know E2 is going to be knocked out at the moment, because unfortunately we haven't heard anything as to why. You can get a decent lap time in. Noah hasn't put a lap time in properly. Maximum haven't. Luke Tenbinka and Lenny Cook have yet to set times. So times to set it now, I'd have to say, or very soon. I think otherwise you might be in a little bit of trouble for the top 10 shootout.
Yeah, still got to bring... Just because this is technically the first qualifying doesn't mean that anyone can rest on their laurels, really. Tenbrinka, come across the final corner. How's it going to be in terms of pace? Loses the rear on the final corner, but it's just going to be enough. Still, absolute Herculean lap, and it's enough for a 123.8 and just nudging their teammate, in fact, down the pecking order a little bit. Now, I wonder if we're going to see any team orders, because, of course, Tanakan currently leads the championship. Emir Durekovic, for all the pace he has, he's going to have to fight upwards. He's not pushing down, he's not defensive, he's on the attack. So not only is he going to have to absolutely nail this race if he wants the title, but he's also got to bank on Ten Haken struggling a little bit. So whether Mercedes is going to play a bit of the strategy game, maybe prioritize Ten Haken in this situation, I'm curious to see.
AJ goes at P5. That's an interesting question, because you got to remember, does Luke just think about next season? Of course, does he want to be the #1 driver in the Mercedes? Could you imagine if it came to that situation, obviously in the Formula One, if you had Russell and Hamilton as to battling for the championship and stuff or one of them battling for the championship and one perhaps interfering with it? Would there be the Toto Wolff orders at play or not? Well, this is the beauty of the esports world. We don't know. We honestly don't know if Luke's going to perhaps cooperate with his teammate, or Luke's going to be like, no, mate, I'm thinking about myself, okay? I've earned the seat in Mercedes, and I want to prove that I'm the better of the Mercedes drivers.
Or perhaps it might be a case of having two #1 drivers, and where you sort of need that main and side dynamic to have a truly successful team. Who's saying that the second driver is going to be happy? In the case here, you've got Tenbrinka and Tanakan, what look like two formidable drivers around the same level. Someone's going to have to yield to the other. If I was the team, I would tell Tenbrinka to take the foot off the gas a little bit. Maybe look at working together with his teammate, but firing on the rear end, rather than trying to fight at the top and potentially compromise the championship for him. But that being said, these are drivers. Their battle's just as much a pride as they are.
Wasn't that told to Max Verstappen recently in a Red Bull? And that didn't quite work out. So I wouldn't be surprised if seeing a little shenanigans occurring down there in the pit crew. Lenny Cook's on a bit of a fly. We'll see what Lenny Cook can do. No purple sectors, but you don't have to win all the purple fruity jackpots if you're in the UK, of course, and the fruity machines. It's all about just getting a consistent, nice overall lap time. And obviously you have to get in the top 10. That's all you have to do, because we're in qualifying too.
Absolutely. It's all about just getting those consistent runs in. But there you go. Lenny Cook, last driver, needed to set a time, and it's going to be a solid one. 123.937. That is good enough for P6. And just slotting themselves right under that 124 threshold, and that's really where a lot of drivers need to aim for. Will Kasson, amidst all of this action, however, ended up going to a 123.432. He's on the cooldown lap now, but he's displaced the AlphaTauri from the lead, though this is Q2, not Q3, so I'm not sure if Amir is all that worried.
Oh, Jordan, I just want to like tell you, hey, Jordan, with a little bit of hate out there. Jordan, give us some love, mate. A lot of effort goes into all this work out here at SwiftX, of course, and sponsored by NordVPN and everything. I wouldn't worry too much about the field. The field is a maximum amount of great gladiating drivers, and it's all about having fun. It's a final race, of course, so it's about championship battle that's occurring. And I'd have to say, there, Benjamin, I say if you did about half a second off Cassie's time, then you should be okay for Q3.
Yeah, that's really where the difficulty is. I would say if you are in the 124s, you got to think about upping that ante a little bit. The 123 is kind of the safe zone, at least certainly in Q2. We got 1 minute 40 left on the clock, 100 seconds, and this is go time. Everyone's peeling out the pits. Illacorpi, Hardwick, Korsgaard, the Red Bull of Locke. They're all coming out in droves, trying to get themselves into the safe zone and out of the relegation. Right now, as it stands, Bashford, Hardwick, Locke, Lapalainen, who's out of the session and will be out of Q2 at this rate, and Kloss. So both Alpines, an Alfa Romeo and a Red Bull. Although speaking of the Alfa Romeo, 123.184 from Larson. It's a brilliant lap there.
Amazing. Where did you pull that one out? That's 2 tenths quicker than everybody else. Just at the right place at the right time. G'day, Liam, out there. Of course, we miss you, Liam. So Liam's going to be tuning in, of course. So Liam used to be racing in SwiftX because of technical problems. He can't, and so therefore he's going to have to sit there and tune in on the grandstands. And let us know where you are sitting to watch this race. There, Liam. And yep, there we go. So in the bubble right now, well, you got to be basically within a second, I'd say, to be safe. But you'd need half a second to be even quicker. But let's see. This is it. Crunch time.
Yeah, this is really crunch time. I mean, it makes an improvement, but it's not enough to displace the Alfa Romeo. It's still only good enough for P2. Casson retires from the session in the pit lane, sees itself as doing everything he needed to there. Jackson also retiring from the session. Both Mercedes still out and fighting for time. Tembrinka in particular seems to be on a bit of a charge, but with the yellow sector 1, not sure if it's going to be an improvement.
Yeah, it's going to be tight, especially on the it's a one lap qualifying at this point now. So whatever you are, committed to it. If you're invalidated, you're invalidated. Joshua's invalidated. You can't do any better. E2 lap line, of course, is out. Maximin's has invalidated his lap. So there's only a couple more of these Centaurians that can fight their way into Q3.
There's a few drivers left. Bashford comes across the line. It's P11. It's not an improvement. Cook comes across the line. Is going to jump up to P6, but immediately displaced by Korsgaard, P4 for the Williams. Everyone is on the edge trying to find the pace where they really are running out of time to do so. Bashford's definitely out in Q2. Hardwick is out in the pits. Lapalainen's out. That is Locke and Kloss waiting to see what they can make of their runs. It's not going to be an improvement from Tembrinka. Tenaken, can they do any better? On the third sector right now. They need to get a good position here. They got the fastest first sector. And of course, that could be a great statement heading into Q3 for the Mercedes team. Displaced a little bit as Locke goes P5.
He got it. Asper got it. He set the statement last minute across the line and delivered it and says, I'm here. Championship is potentially mine, my friend. And that's a statement by 11 thousandths of a second there, Ben.
And right at the edge of the session, as well as our seats. Jasper Tenaken takes Q2, 123.173, just 11 milliseconds ahead of the Alfa Romeo of Larson. Emir only managed P3 this time round, but that being said, we're heading into Q3 now. That's the one that really matters. Saying goodbye this session then is going to be Cameron Sell, Joshua Bashford, Thomas Hardwick, Maximilian Kloss, and an E2 Lapalainen down in P15, leaving the session early. But of course, that leaves our top drivers fighting for position in Q3.
Yeah, exactly. Digital Motorsports is going to present you of the Q3 with NordVPN. Trust me, you do need to use a VPN when you're in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, and the United Arab Emirates, because they block things like WhatsApp and all that sort of stuff too. So you have to use a NordVPN. I've been to Dubai, And a lot of the countries around the world, they do block some of that social media and stuff like that. So you have to use the NordVPN. Trust me, you definitely do. And if you have to be I don't think you need to use a NordVPN right now to be watching this race at least. But if you want to at least chat to your friends about it, you kind of need to use NordVPN for the social media. They're going to go out early on the track and get some time because we only have 10 minutes, and so you get a little bit of fresh boots. Now, being out, of course, for the top 10 shootout doesn't mean you're out of the race. I'll tell you what, Ben, there's 2 races in my career of casting Formula One in Abu Dhabi that have been rain. So who knows if the rain's there? That could definitely help those drivers outside the top 10.
Just as if we didn't have enough wild cards. Betting on the rain, an interesting one. Right now, on board with Larson, waiting as we only have really 10 minutes of running. Let's say, getting a little bit of the tail out there. And I think we're seeing some, in terms of setups, looking at the technical side, it's looking very oversteery on the whole. Whether the drivers are comfortable with that is another question, but one thing's for sure, getting a turn in, getting a good turn in, especially on a track like this with so many 90-degree corners, so many turns that require an aggressive line inwards in order to set yourself up for the preceding corners.
And the top speeds, which I'll keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be surprising to me if we see very little in the rear aero department. A bit of front just to get the turn in and get the car somewhat planted in terms of grip. But yeah, the aero is going to be a big factor in the racer's times. We're going to see first on out to fully start a run here, Larson. Let's see how they do.
It's going to be exciting. I just want to sit back and watch and relax and enjoy a Formula One car at high speeds, the pinnacle of motorsports. It's Larson time. Alfa Romeo shifting up 6th gear, 7th gear, down the main straightaway. We'll get an idea of his top speed at 312, 15. He got at 333 maybe is the peak. He's at 330. Ooh, he almost hit it. We'll see.
Yes, he can see getting as much pace as he can out of these back straights and then slamming on the brakes. Literally every ounce of grip he can use before he locks up, he uses it to full effect here. Had a purple S1, but that has been since claimed by another driver. We'll have to see who it can be. It's Korsgaard.
It's only the first banker lap, which once again, we always put a banker lap in. You know that for a fact, Ben, because we've seen that before, haven't we, over the course of the season. 16 races we're in now, where drivers have not put a banker in and they've been struggling in Q3.
Yeah,
like that.
Saying that, Lawson.
Just like that. They've been struggling, and that's probably one of my last commentating curses, hopefully, of the year.
Yeah, that is Lawson pretty much out for the count. So Korsgaard was on a run, but it looks like that mantle is going to go over to Jackson, as they are going to be the first driver to go across the line and set a time. It's a 125.5. They had to yield a little bit for the on-track car, the stricken Alfa Romeo. Locke comes in a second and a bit faster. Kassem with 123.8.
Ima's about to smash this one. Bang.
It's a 122.
Sends everybody packing a second faster. Welcome along to Denmark, he says. Well, you know what? Australia did beat Denmark, but anyway, we're all packing, aren't we, from the World Cup? But you know, we're packing from this World Championship, mate.
Yeah, the time is ticking. The pressure is on. 8 minutes on the clock and a very few chances to set a lap. Ilakorpi going very deep and having to peel out of the lap, I feel, there, as Cook is going to be the other AlphaTauri, posting a time in P2. It's 123.6, and we are waiting for a few drivers now to come across the line and set a time, namely both Mercedes out on track right now. But it's going to be a pretty weak early entry. 135.7 from Timbrinka, and Tanakan is going to be following shortly after.
Yes, but also great on his lap as well. Was the man that has to be qualifying as best as possible in this championship, making his way under the hotel. But no purples to his name. But for a first banker lap, I'd have to say, if you can get yourself squeezed in between, perhaps Imar and Lenny Cook, that would be a good sign. We know he can pull a banker out because he did it in the final dying stages. He did it perfectly on there, cued right there. You could not write a script for that movie, could you? Jasper, P2.
Yeah, so P2 is exactly what he needs right now. He can play it a little bit safer. Of course, you don't want to in qualifying, but doesn't have to be nearly as aggressive considering for the championship he's in the defending position. So Amir will only win the championship, according to the commentator maps and some of the work by the graphics team, if Amir gets first and the fastest lap of the race. So 26 points. Tanakan still only has to finish 4th or higher to lock in the championship.
It sounds easy on paper, doesn't it? But it's all about the track performance. And all you can do right now at this point in the qualifying session is park that car in P1. Give yourself the ability into turn 1 to lead the race and control the race is all you need to be thinking about between those two gladiators. As his teammate squeezes himself up into P3 there, give him a little bit of protection, of course, which would be great. You're going to need it because Lenny Cook is out perhaps there to help Emil Djokovic win this championship. So that's Mercedes versus AlphaTauri. And I tell you what, that teammate is going to be the key, perhaps, won't it, Ben, to maybe dictate and decide this championship.
Yeah, I think if not the drivers themselves, then the teammates are going to be instrumental in this fight. Larson, again, going too aggressive. I think it's just the throttle application. They're too aggressive on the throttle. They're letting the tail step out. Yes, they try to catch it, but by that point, it's too late. So you've got to learn a little bit about driving on the edge, is that whatever throttle you think you can apply, don't. Give yourself 10% less. Better to be under the limit and work up than go over and work downwards, because especially in Q3, like we are now, you don't have those chances to burn.
Benjamin, I'm going to have to get a memo from you. It sounds like you're doing some race coaching. I like it. It's easy up here, Ben, in the commentary box, to know when to hit loud pedal and how loud to hit it. It's all in the microseconds, of course, and the pinnacle of motorsports and the pinnacle of the Swift Motor Racing Series at SwiftX. We'll see, Ben. Well, we'll throw you one of those double-seater Formula 1 cars later on, mate. We'll give you a spin around here from one of the championships, but we'll wrap up the season.
Maybe one day I'll race again. Maybe one day. We'll have to see. But one thing's for sure is the drivers are certainly feeling the pressure. Now, if I was in Larson's position, I would be right to be worried. I'd be right to be panicked, because I've only got 4 minutes to my name, and lo and behold, I have not got a lap yet. Same goes for Ilakopi and Korsgaard. They have some pace. They all have really good pace, but they just need to nail a lap down. Even if it's something in the realm of the 130s, the 140s even. The fact that they have a time immediately puts them ahead of the other competitors who don't. So if Ilakopi was to set a time, even if it was in the 2-minute realm, as long as he didn't invalidate, he comes across that line, he would still get a P8.
We haven't seen these close qualifying times yet. Look at the spread at the moment. We've got 2.7 seconds from AJ down from Emil. Closest there is half a second. I mean, then you got Luke and Lenny. They're separated by almost nothing. And then you got Casson and Peter about a second and change down the road, separated by nothing. These are not the representative times that these guys have been doing all season. So I'd imagine these banker laps right now will be depending on keeping it within the white lines and putting in the quickest lap you possibly can. So I don't count out almost at this point anybody in this top 10, Ben, that could steal a pole position away.
Yeah, well, you got to take a look at how qualies run as well. Usually, drivers take Q1 as that time to reacclimatize with the track and just get used to driving in the scenario. Q2 is when you start to see that wick turned up a little bit, and then Q3 is when it is absolutely go time. The difference here is we skip Q1, so that initial bedding in period is gone. And let me tell you, when you're driving on the limit and you feel the pressure to drive on the limit without that warm-up, especially if something goes wrong, there's only one thing going through your mind. That's panic. Especially if you're losing that rear, if you're gunning it too hard, panicking about getting under the 123 barrier, the 124 barrier. The minute something feels even minutely off, you panic, you almost second guess yourself. Like you overcorrect, you overcompensate for an issue. And that is when those mistakes and those incidents start to creep in.
Now, Benjamin, if I was a team boss right now, you know what I would do? I would swap out their T-shirts. Replace the T-shirts with "Don't Panic" written on the front of them as they make their way out of the garage. That's the key, isn't it? As you said, don't panic. That's what the last reminder you want in your driver when they make their way out onto the track to do the best that they've been doing all season long. Just remember that. Don't panic. Yeah. Just do what you do. It's like riding a bike, isn't it? You've done it before multiple times. Great drivers always race great. It's a situations of the stress that's going to be the downfall, perhaps, for one of those drivers tonight.
I always remember, say, some racing advice that one of my closest friends gave me, who also did some league racing, also did some racing in other categories. But the one most impactful thing they said to me when I was trying to improve as a driver is stop driving like me, start driving like you. I was trying to emulate him so hard to the point where I was panicking that I wasn't exactly following his line or exactly hitting his braking points. So he just said, look, I can tell you are a different driver to me. You've got to play into those strengths. You've got to play into that defensive style of driving, that strategy, the strategic thinking that you do better than, say, your attacking maneuvers. Just play into that, play into their strengths. We don't always see those strengths in quali, like we're seeing with some drivers. We expect that spread to be much tighter, but it's not. Where the real power comes out for some of these drivers, where they truly come alive, is in that race situation, in the heat of the pack. That's where we get to see some of the magic happen.
Great advice. Could not disagree with that at all. That's what it's all about. Mind over machine.
But there we are. As we come through now, say CosGuard getting a great run there. It's going to be P2 for the Williams. And it's getting caught up in my story almost. It's to the point where it's kind of, say, overtaken everything else that's going on. But that is going to be just two drivers left to set a time. And that's, of course, Ilakorpi and Larson.
There are the flying laps now for the final time of our qualifying for the final time this season, of course. And SwiftX, Abu Dhabi's going to wrap it up right now. Ema has the fastest middle sector. First sector is so-so on the board. And he goes bang. Top of the timesheets at 22.8. That's 3 seconds, 3/10 quicker. Nobody else setting purples at the moment there, Benjamin. So maybe he's looking like he's going to own here. We never know. We've seen surprises in the past. But Jasper.
That is where everyone needs to come alive. They've got to do it now. Ilakorpi bad across the line is going to be an improvement. He's going to only be P8 to 124.1. Jackson coming in with 123.8. Going to be reasserting himself at the top. And then Larson coming in 123.1. Is that
Jasper
final
P2!
Hail Mary, and Jasper P2 was locking it in.
How do you fairy tale script that one? The two championship contenders are going to be side by side in the front row, because that's it. That's absolutely it for our qualifying session. Ben, I'm telling you right now, mate. Netflix, sign this one up. This is a script in the making. This is a drive to survive in the making. What a finale. Two drivers coming down, two for now, and he can win, and he could lose or go home. Win or go home time. And they're both going to start side by side in the front row.
This is... yeah, there's no real words that I can bring to that one. It's just... wow. We really are going to get a battle to the line. And
could you imagine if they destroy each other in the first corner? Like I didn't want to go into those scenarios in the past that we've had. Obviously, Senna and Prost and all that sort of jazz, of course, is going to favor one driver or not. But yeah, this is SwiftX. They don't do that. Benjamin, there is your final grid results.
And there's Amir Durikovic coming in with a P1, 122.8. The only other driver to do so in that 122 is, of course, Jasper Tenhaken with a 0.934. Rounding out the rest of the timesheets, though, we have Larson, Will Casson, Lenny Cook, Gustav Korsgaard, Luke Tenbrinker, Peter Luck, AJ Jackson, and Noah Ilakorpi down in P10. And with that all being said, that's qualifying. That is...
yeah. Let's see if we can hear from both of those two drivers in the championship, of course, on P1 and P2. Usually I only speak to the driver that's in P1, but we're going to speak to both of them, of course, because this is a special time, because they're both battling the championship, so we get that one. Korsgaard did say he lost too much time in Sector 3. He did qualify for the Williams up into P6. He's 4/10 off the pace, so maybe he could have got himself a little bit further up in the grid, but it's still pretty good there, Korsgaard. Looking forward to seeing you in the race as well. Remember, there potentially could be rain I'm praying on it. He could make a 3. You know, they say 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Well, it could be 3 out of 3. They say anything can happen. And I'll tell you what, it could be. The scripts have already been exciting, haven't they, for this potential showdown, Benjamin? So imagine if we do get a little bit of rain or something here. And
oh, imagine the wild card that rain would be. I'm just struggling to perceive that, especially in Abu Dhabi. It's such a rarity. But
it's a rarity. You got to get it SwiftX, mate. I think we got a rarity, whatever rarity, of course, but we might have Emar to have a bit of a chat too.
And yeah, let's have a chat to him. I think it's only fair that we have a chat to, of course, the wonder. Not Mr. Saturday, because you bring the heat on Sunday, but still, brilliant.
Yeah, he's not Mr. Football either.
How
but Emar, congratulations. You got it on pole, mate, but guess who's right next to you on the front row? How does that feel?
Doesn't feel good. He needs a P5 for me to win, and him qualifying P2 is not good for me. And I'm gonna be honest, I am sweating my ass off.
I gotcha. You're what? Yeah.
Exactly, something like that.
We're gonna let's drag Jasper in here because I want to hear from both of you guys. Okay, so it's only fair because it's the showdown between both your drivers, and somebody drag Jasper into this meeting that we have to have. Because it's all fair, and I want actually if anyone in the chat wants to chat to these two drivers, I'm going to do that. Jasper, welcome. We're talking to Emar at the moment. Got that on pole. You got that on P2. So we'll go back to Emar real quick. Anybody in chat wants to ask these drivers for the final time before they race, go ahead. But yeah, Emar. But how stressed were you during that qualifying session?
Well, very stressed. My Q2 wasn't as good as I wanted to be. Couldn't even get the fastest time, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm just too nervous, I think. I hope I can turn this pressure into some pace, as I usually do, but I have never experienced this kind of pressure before, so we'll see.
Benjamin said don't panic before, so as I said, get your teams, put don't panic on there. Well, in the chat there to the best of both drivers, 2 of the best, exactly. Thank you very much, Junie. Real quick there, Jasper, we'll come back to you as well, Emar, with the questions that Ben will ask. Jasper, how much pressure is on you? Are you feeling this same stress right now that Emar is?
I think it's a bit less for me, really. I feel quite okay. I've done the best qualifying of the season, so I'm actually feeling okay. I'm not as bad as him, probably.
And you're more of your qualifying performance hasn't been the best all season, but you make it up in the work, get the points paid, right? So, what's your confidence going into? You guys can take it. Obviously, please no center cross moments into turn 1, stuff like that. Like you want to see obviously clean racing, which is what we see here at SwiftX. Obviously, I'm not even going to ask you to reveal your strategy and stuff like that. It's going to be a different ball game. What if rain comes, guys? But that's a real question. I'll go before I pass it to Ben. Have you practiced at all in the rain in Abu Dhabi?
No, not in the rain. Not at all, but especially not in the rain.
Nope.
No, all right, that's good. So the rain's going to come. Benjamin, questions for the drivers, please.
I think it's really just a case of course, it's the climactic race. It's the oddest, I'd say, in terms of, say, final race in terms of track layout. Of course, you have, say, some iconic tracks, some unique tracks. Abu Dhabi, it's a bit lukewarm to many. I wanted to ask, really, a couple things. One's, what's your opinions on the tracks? And this goes to both of you. But more importantly, if you have a favorite part of the track as well.
Well, I can start. If I hate this track.
Yep.
I hate this track.
Yep.
It's horrible. It has random bumps all over the track. Sector 3 is the worst thing ever to exist. I think I would wish we ended it in Brazil or something, or Japan. Well, I just hate this. Maybe it's because of the pressure. Maybe I wouldn't have felt this way if I won the championship or if I was in the lead, but I hate it.
Well, you hated it, but you put it on pole. Jasper, your answer to that Ben's question?
Well, I actually like the track. It's not one of the favorites, but I really like it. But I agree with Emir that Sector 3 is so bad with the random bombs that it ruins it for me. But the layout and the corners itself, I quite like them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the reprofiled sector, like Sector 2, so the hairpin and then say the back and forth, was chicanery got replaced by that one long left sweeper. I think that did a bit to remedy the track, but yeah, I can certainly see that Sector 3, pretty much for everyone I've talked to, is more or less a deal breaker. So with that all being said, I'm looking forward to what you guys bring to trackside. Of course,
This is a good question, real quick, there, Ben, from Board Genie out there in the chat. Are the measures in place if the drivers do anything like Senna and Prost?
Yeah, he's our steward. He has put measures in place. He has told us that if we
are.
do anything,
Yeah.
questionable, we're gonna get disqualified by from the championship.
Ooh. Yeah, guys. Yeah, man.
I'm not worried at all.
I mean, he should be worried because he tried to take me out last time we had a championship battle. So I think he should be worried.
That'll go to Michael Massey later on at the moment.
I mean, you know, if he's gonna spin on his own, he's probably gonna try and make it my fault somehow. So
Hey, all right, that's one for the stewards, guys. So, yeah, this is it's all about. Hey, I like this. It's feisty there, Ben. I think we need to send him to the cool down room, mate, because it's heating up here in the desert.
Well, either way, regardless, hoping we make it past lap 1. This is a fighting talk, but no. On a genuine note, I do just want to say, and this isn't even a question, this is just like a heartfelt message. It's like, you guys have brought the absolute heat this season, and I extend this message to every single driver on grid, whether you're still with the championship or not. Everyone brought the heat, everyone brought their A game, everyone brought their best, and I'm just wanting to extend a thank you to you guys, especially, seeing as you are fighting at the sharp end, but also everyone who drove for the season, that you are all amazing drivers, and you deserve every ounce of respect you get. So with that all being said, I mean, mini round of applause in the commentary box, but
yeah, of course.
Let's bring the heat.
They get
home.
free NordVPN. Okay, bang, done. Whoever
I
wins
think,
loses, and a free NordVPN for both of those drivers. Go ahead.
As I said last time as well, huge respect to Jasper. He has really stepped up this season, and I am kind of glad to see him up there fighting for the championship. It reminds me of old times. It's what, you know, what we all like in the end, racing each other, getting that adrenaline up, and I think putting all, you know, jokes and hatred aside, or whatever you want to call it, I think both Jasper and I, Jasper and I, we love each other, so I think it's gonna be cool on the track. Okay, except if, you know, if one of us makes a mistake and take out the other, I think we'll be good with that as well.
Should be fine.
We are primarily here to have fun.
Santa Claus will be coming to town for one of these drivers this season. Email, of course, the defending champion, has everything to lose, and Jasper, of course, Tanakan has everything to gain. So, Benjamin, the showdown's going to be starting, isn't it? In the wild, wild west, or the very, very Middle East, more than anything.
So it's Wild West.
And good luck, guys. And I'll let you go cool down, talk to your engineers, and plan your strategy. Rain is coming. I won't tell you that or not. But yeah, Ben, are you excited? I'm excited.
You bet I am. But thank you both. And we'll see you on track.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
And there you go. That's our two top fighters. And that is the stakes set for the championship finale in SwiftX. So, reminder for everyone, this is the championship decider. Now, both these drivers have been sort of fluctuating and bringing the points. Of course, we had the hiatus from Emir bringing the heat in Jasper's corner, allowing him to get those points, get that massive lead, but just as quickly, Emir's taking it back up. And now we sit in Abu Dhabi with P1 in Durakovic's corner, but still, Tanakan's on the defensive position. So it will be a case of fighting right up there with the best of the best. We're going to be taking our break as we tend to do. We will see you in 30 minutes for the showdown of all showdowns. This is the decider of SwiftX Series 1 for the Drivers' Championship. Who is going to win? Jasper Tanakan or Emir Durakovic? You will see, and we will see. It's only live once. Sorry, wrong company intro. But everyone is pumped, and so am I. See you very soon.
tonight, as the sun sets here, the showdown concludes with the best of Swift Motor Racing League battling it out here in the Yas Marina for the title fight. These gladiators have stepped into 15 grilling arenas around the world, which have all led up to this event tonight. The final blowout, knockout blow, will see one of these drivers crowned the NordVPN SwiftX World Champion. Welcome along to SwiftX Formula One Round 16 at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. A grueling track. It's all about speed, sensation, turns, sectors, downforce, and overtaking opportunities. We're going to see two of our top guns battling in the championship lined up on the front row, going and making their way into turn one, the tight, twisty turn. Abu Dhabi, of course, is Arabic for the Gazelle and home to 2.18 million. The Emirates, of course, features the natural islands, and that's all made of islands and mess. It's money, of course, here in Abu Dhabi, and it's the circuit that concludes the Formula One calendar. I'm the Dean Biggles, and of course, joining me, Benjamin. Benjamin, how's that title fight brewing?
That title fight is brewing up plenty of storm. As you can see there, it's just inches, just points, small gaps separating our two key championship protagonists. And as we are waiting to get into the field itself, the track looks hazy, but the racing and the challenges ahead for these drivers, especially between our top two, Emir Durekovic and Jasper Ten Aken, it's crystal clear for both of them exactly what they need to do. Ten Aken's on the ropes. Emir is approaching fast, but has Emir done enough to make up from those gaps in the championship to reclaim the top spot in the climactic race? This is where we come to see the best of the best duke it out right up to the line.
It will be right up to the very line. Of course, Abu Dhabi has produced those final finishes. Of course, go back a little bit further back with the Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. If Ten Hakkinen finishes 4-4 higher, and it also rely on whether an Emar can finish first or higher with the fastest lap. There's a bunch of numbers and statistics we need to crunch. It's definitely looking a little overcast, my friend, but maybe my rain dances have not produced for potentially the third time in my career of doing that. I'm going to get NordVPN. I'm going to say, NordVPN, can we switch this one up again, reload the session and see if we can get some rain? Well, the chances of rain, unfortunately, tonight will be about 0%, Benjamin. But I'll tell you what, the chances of excitement and a fun concluding showdown will be about 100%.
Let's say, and certainly the weather, while it may not be rain, the clouds that you can see overhead might play a little bit into track temperatures. And this is kind of something that's often overlooked by at least a lot of us spectating in the sidelines. But the track temp, especially when it comes to the life of your tires, the grip of your tires, it means everything. Especially getting those things up to temp and keeping them in that operating window. If the track's too cold or too hot, you can be in trouble.
Well, we all know that it's calm and home. It's come and home song. Well, the Drivers' Championship's coming home to somebody. Will be returning back to Emir Durekovic, the current Drivers' Championship, or will Ten Hakken take it away, steal it away? Well, we know the Dutch at the moment can win a Formula One championship in real life, and we know the Dutch at the moment have won, performing very much well in the World Cup at the moment, not so much of Denmark. So can the Dutch army support that man and get him across the line and win this championship? Or can Emir Durekovic defend that crown and hold off for another season and be recrowned that one, itching his name back into that Constructors Trophy, the Drivers' Trophy? Constructors has already been done and dusted, hasn't it? But the Drivers' one is the one that you want to win.
Yeah, so right now, as it stands, everyone's coming in looking like mediums and hards are mostly the play. One stop or two stop, we'll yet to see. But Emir in a good form. Remember, he is attacking. He is fighting upwards, so he needs to get more points. I believe 11 more points than Ten Aken to retake the championship in the final race. Ten Aken's from a position of strength in defense, so they only have to, even with a perfect result, finish fourth. But none of that is about to matter as we are here for the final race of SwiftX. It's 5 red lights. The track is hot, and we are away. It's looking like a brilliant getaway for the AlphaTauri. Tanakan is just a bit further behind, but Demir is just running away. Gets a really good start. Korsgaard fighting at the thing. Bashford also dropping down a fair chunk. Looks like there's a lot of battling happening up and down the field. Camera angles are not doing us a favor at the moment, unfortunately, but it should not be long before we'll be able to see the fight up ahead of us.
Oh, yeah. They're all excited, of course. The camera operators are absolutely excited. And why not? Because it's going to be a close battle, obviously, between P3 and P2 as well, too. Larsie bringing it to Jasper Tanakan. Jasper Tanakan has to be very, very all cautious and making sure that he can save this one in the corner, but allows Larsie through. And Larson gets there and doesn't want to put up too much of a fight, I guess, at the moment there, and make sure that he's not under the massive pressure that, you know, you're going to have to use those onboard cameras at the moment, mate, because those externals don't seem to be working too much here in Jasperina.
It's unfortunate, but it looks like there's a lot of juggling out on the field as Locke and Jackson seem to be trading blows, and we can sort of hop on board with them and see how they're doing. Jackson continuing to hang it around the side, trying to look for a move, but
spinning car
contact!
And massive contact, exactly. AJ, Korsgaard's out. Who else is involved? Luke's in there, Peter Locke. This is a massive accident. Now, this could be very much close to, well, I don't say red flag, but definitely a safety car for sure. But there is, there's not all, that's only Korsgaard. Unfortunately, was out, but tough right now and the pit lane, my friend. You're going to need a couple of front wings.
Yeah, it looks like everyone is having to get quickly back onto their feet as the safety car comes out, and this is only lap 2. Emir just about outpaces the safety car to getting out of the pits, so he's going to be having a chance to potentially extend a gap. Everyone is heading into the pits nearly immediately, however, and I'm not sure whether that's in the case of Locke. It's certainly for damage. He got caught up in that collision that ended up knocking out Korsgaard along with a couple of the others, but I can't make the same case for pretty much half of the grid who's swapping out this early.
There's a lot of carbon fiber damage with that massive accident that happened in the midfield. Everybody at the moment on track is on the hards. This is the drivers that have elected to switch over to those medium tires. I think a lot of them had damage. I'm just looking at the pit lane report at the moment. There's tons and tons of information coming into me right now. I'm, in fact, trying to be your booth and Ted at the same time, mate. It's a lot of work, of course, but then again, that's what you're here at SwiftX, so that's why we're proudly sponsored by NordVPN to make sure you get your butt kicked into gear. And there you go. So from P7 down, my friend Benjamin, everybody's gone down and visited myself and their pit crew in the pit lane.
Yeah, I think it's just about getting the mandatory stop out of the way, although the pace is still going to be affected. So whether it was just switching to a more optimal compound, see with a lot of drivers switching over to the mediums, knowing that behind the safety car, they can get away with a couple extra laps because the wear is nowhere near as high. But I think, say, starting the first, well, technically, by this point, the third lap, starting the first lap with a safety car incident, well, it's SwiftX, isn't it?
Yeah.
Only SwiftX.
Yeah, well, well, not necessarily, because you have to say Emar and Jasper were very, very kind, and Lars had boxed as well, which is interesting, because Larson was P2. I mean, he managed to get past Jasper, but he ended up pitting. I'm just going to try to see his pit lane time as one of those pickup trucks at the moment cruising by. You can hear in the background. I'm just going to look at his pit stop time, whether he had to fix some wing damage. Now, Korsgaard, I believe, I'm not quite sure of 100% if Korsgaard confirmed he bottomed out when braking. Here it is. And of course, in the smallest tap, and he DNF'd. Yeah, Korsgaard was a spin, and then everybody went slamming into Korsgaard. Of course, the big boy league, of course, there's no ghosting there, Benjamin. So, you know, you go around a corner and there's a car spinning backwards or sideways. That's it. You're into the side of it, and it caused a bit of damage for the other drivers. But unfortunate for you, Korsgaard. Unfortunately, it happens. Had a bit of a spin, and I'm probably sure that you're more upset about destroying some of the other drivers racing. But that's racing, so it's not, you're not planning on spinning, mate. It just happens. Cold tires, but a very warm heart.
Yeah, at the end of the day, there's very little that you can do in that situation. When you bottom out the car, you're effectively skating, so you lose almost all control. So even something like the smallest tap is enough to send you spinning, because so much of the friction of your car isn't in the tires, it's in things like the under tray and the aerodynamic bodywork. where it really shouldn't be. So you lose that control, basically leaving yourself open.
It is very, very unfortunate, Coast Guard, and not quite sure. If we do get another safety car or something like that, please get you. If you'd like to have a chat to us in the cool down room, we'll be able to get to drag you in. I don't think we're going to have enough time right now, as we got one more lap of the safety car that should be peeled in. But if you'd like to have a quick chat to us, it'd be good to wrap it up for the season. I know it's unfortunate, exactly what Benjamin had mentioned, the low downforce and the tire grip and all that sort of stuff everybody's bunched up is very, very difficult situation. That's the reason why I'm not a driver, Benjamin, and I set up in the casting booth. But I'll tell you what, Emar is in the hot seat and he needs to finish first with the fastest lap to wrap up this championship. But it all depends on Tanakan, of course. He has to finish 4 for higher, and currently at the moment, P2 is all he needs.
Yeah, that really is... It's a two sides of a coin. On one hand, Emir has to drive his heart out. He's got to bring in his absolute A game. He's in good position so far, but also needs to rely, like we were saying in qualifying, on Tehaken dropping the ball a little bit. This is where you've got to have both of those elements working in your favor, because Emir needs not only that first place, that fastest lap, but he also needs his opponent to basically finish outside of the top 4, or even the top 5.
He needs his teammate to help him out, but that's Lenny Cook running in P4. Far the biggest gainers, of course, from that maximum. Kloss has from P14 to P5, yet to box, of course. Safety car will be in this lap. Joshua Bashford as well has from P12 to P6, not yet to box. But it'll switch things around because he obviously made sure he pit stop for the top 6. But they don't have to worry about it right now, Mr. Benjamin, because colder temperatures and, cold tyres and fresh tyres for the softs. But Emar now has to perform one of these miracles at the moment in the fish helmet there and swim his way into another lead as he makes his way under the hotel that we're staying at. Thank you very much there, SwiftX, sponsored by Digital Motorsports, for putting us up in that hotel room. Hope you got some sleep last night, Benjamin, because you're not going to get sleep right now, mate.
Why would I want to be sleeping? We've got some racing, beautiful racing at that. We're about to get underway as Amir controls the pace of the queue. We're setting off. It's about to get back underway. We're under green flags once again. It's lap 5 of 29. Everyone's going full gun. Tanakan dropped behind very quickly. Amir really gets the jump on them there. It's about a second's gap between the two. Looks like the Alfa Romeo's kind of running out of a little bit of space between each other. I say Larson's fine, but Bashford drops out. Locke dropping like a stone in the field. That's down to P15. Looks like they had a pretty big incident in the first sector, but looking on board with, it looks like Cook is challenging Kassan, is going to be on the inside.
Well, he tucks him behind, doesn't he? That's interesting. At the moment, he's got the brake a little bit early, hit the lap, the stop pedal.
Hasn't got
tucks
the DRS.
in quite clever, but he's got to work together with his teammate, remember here. He's got to help his teammate out because Jasper's looking great. DRS activated, not quite yet, of course. We just had the safety car, but look at the slip line street right now. Look at it. Look at the speed difference. 3 of them.
I say he hasn't got the DRS, but that doesn't matter. He's going to be heroic. He's going to throw it in the inside. He's going to hold that inside line perfectly. Edge of the grip, edge of his seat. Aston Martin is kind of on the ropes right now. Oh, it's a twitch from Lenny. It's a twitch, and just like that, he's dropping down the field. It's P12, 13, 14, all the way back down at the bottom.
Oh, no, Lenny, a little bit too eager, too early. It's unfortunate, isn't it? Because they're putting the pressure on. They want to put the pressure on. Well, Larson's putting the pressure on right now. Get a good exit out of this final corner. Can he make a run? Maximum Kloss is currently P4. This is a battle for P4 at the moment, as you can see. And if they don't get it right, look at the Mercedes. He can also help his teammate out. Remember, of Jasper. Here we go. No DRS enabled just yet there, Benjamin. What racing?
They're really bringing everything they have to the table. And Lappalainen's going to be surely seeing what they can get away with. They're also on the mediums like Timbrinkas. They've got a pace advantage that they can use. But have they got the room to use it? Remember, I say they've got a medium runner ahead of them who in themselves is fighting against the likes of Larson and the likes of Kloss. But Kloss dropping back 2 positions. Is it going to be a third thanks to the Haas? It's going to be side by side. Are they going to get it done? They get a good exit. And it looks like a drag race that's about to be won by the white and red. And
unbelievable. I mean, we've seen many 2 to 3 into a corner. all season long, haven't we, at SwiftX? And we kind of thought, it's not possible. It's not possible. But they do it. They make it work, Ben. I don't know how they manage to do it, but they do. It's great racing. Tune in, of course. It's fantastic racing. Noah's also making a bit of a battle at the back there, of course, of P8 and P9. I don't know where to look, Benjamin. There's too many camera angles. It's too much fun.
See, this back of the pack fight is so dense. You can see these cars really getting up in each other's grills and looking for moves constantly, trying to see what their runs they can get, trying to see what information they could grasp about their opponents. All of the little things, from the tire compounds all the way down to how they approach the corner. It's all valuable information that these drivers can put to full use. They need it at their disposal. And especially in the case of the mid-pack, you've got so much happening around you that you really have to be absolutely on your toes. Ilakorpi's going to be firing it down the inside, using those mediums to great effect. Runs deep, though, is simply going to trade in the end, but he certainly made that statement to Bashwood. Can he use those mediums to continue the move? The DRS is now activated, and as Ilakorpi goes into P9, it's a strong move from the Ferrari.
Wow, overtaking opportunities, goes too deep, but it gets a bit of a tap there to maximum. And that's a big my bad moment for sure. For Noah, he knows it for a fact, and if, you know, honorable, you want to give that position back, but the problem is there's many other drivers coming around the corner and flying at 1,000,000 miles an hour. But that's definitely too deep on the brakes, for sure. He's aware of it. Everybody's aware of it. That's SwiftX. It'll be all about that one. I don't see too much of a problem there. But go back further up the field there, of course, Larson putting a little bit of pressure on the other Mercedes driver. Now, Luke Tenbinky, Wrinkle, of course, can make a big difference to the Jasper here. He needs to be the Jasper back marker, doesn't he? He needs to basically be, well, I'm even going to go into the Perez situation with Max Verstappen.
I'll say Larson is right there to put a bit of pressure on Brinker, and the AlphaTauris are in a tough spot. Emir has lost his wingman. He's down all the way in P12 after that mistake. Short of a shake-up like a safety car, this looks like a Mercedes fight to lose. Tenaken's P2. Brinker's fighting off any threats in P4. They really are in a good formation right now to capitalize on the environment. Although that being said, it's a sizable gap between Kassan and Tenaken. Or between Kassan and Tenbrinke even, with Tenaken under threat.
Is Larson too far back right now at that DRS activation? No, he's going to sit him behind. He thinks wise about it, knowing you have another DRS activation point coming up in a minute.
Yes, the
as
micro.
you kink your way through here, exactly, and then get a good exit out of here. DRS activation. No, I get a bad exit, believe it or not. Good covering off there by Luke. And look at Emar. Does anybody told Emar he wants to win this championship, doesn't he? He's doing everything he needs to do. We'll go back to that one in a minute because he's got a 3-second gap to Jasper. Jasper only needs to finish P2, so he's okay. Doesn't matter if he finishes a lap on everybody else. It's the fact that he is doing what he needs to do. Jasper's doing what he needs to do. It's up to those other players, isn't it, in the other team you said that will make all the difference.
Yeah, and really the problem here is with Emir's performance right now. It's amazing, but is it enough? His teammate is all the way down at the other end of the field, and he needs that wingman. The only saving grace that Emir has in his corner right now is that Kassan is putting a sizable amount of pressure on Tenaken for P2. He has to bank on those two fighting it out, because as much as he doesn't want to admit it, his best on his own isn't enough.
No, he needs to finish 4th or higher. Now, Emar needs to finish first with the fastest lap. He has that currently at the moment, so he's ticked all those boxes off. But at the moment, Jasper, he's ticked the box off. He is 4th or higher. Fantastic. But he may very well be 3rd in a minute as Kassan goes on by. It looked like he just let him on by there at the moment there too. So he lives to see fighting another day. Remember, at the moment there, Benjamin, that he's got his teammate behind him now. So he's got that much pressure from behind.
As can use that teammate to his advantage, but his teammate's on the softer compound. So whether that is an optimal use of strategy or whether that's burning a more efficient option, we'll have to wait and see.
His teammate not be behind him anymore because of Larson. They're going to run around the outside, which should turn into the inside. No, tucked in behind. But look at this. Larson making around the Alfa Romeo. He got past. He has done it. So he has got past the teammate of Jasper Tenaken. And there it is. So they're splitting up the... No longer do you have a back marker there, Jasper Tenaken, because Larson's in town.
Larson's in town, and Larson means business. So we saw how powerful they were in quali. and it's just translating it to the race. You can see, despite best efforts, Timbrinka's chasing, but with that little shimmy and a little bit of squirreliness coming on the throttle, that's all they needed to drop the position and drop it down.
Drop it like it's hot. AJ putting pressure on. There's 2 battles at the moment to look at. P6, P7, P9, P10. And there's the DRS train, of course, behind Thomas Hardwick there in P9. So action all over the place. I don't know. You're the cameraman, you're the director, and you're the fantastic commentator, Benjamin. The final time this season, mate. Where do you want to go to? It's up to you.
Well, we've got to wait and see. So Illicorp, he heads into the pits right now, down in P14. Hasn't really got much to lose. I think they're banking on a safety car to potentially make up a gap again, but they're going to be using some bit of their track position, what little track position they have left. Switch to a new set of tires, maybe recover some damage. You got Locke down at the bottom end of the field, right on the tail of De Boer in the Haas, going side by side. Is there going to be a challenge? The Alpine has kind of boxed the Red Bull in, doesn't have really any place to go. Has it side by side through the left sweeper. They're going to continue to duke it out. Locke's going to have the inside for the third sector. He's going to lock it in, but just behind as well, Cook and Bashford are trading blows. And it's all coming to a head here in the final round of SwiftX.
Unbelievable. I like Lenny Cook's pace there because Bond de Boer, of course, has got Joshua Bashford. That's a fantastic battle. I told you it's the final arena. It's a final knockout. It's the final showdown here at SwiftX. And this is what you want to see, isn't it, from these drivers? And they're putting in a boxing match that's going to go all the way to round 29. Let's hope for everybody. Ding, ding. Bells are ringing.
I'll say Cook is driving the heart out of those hards. Even when they have a compound disadvantage, they're still giving it their absolute all. And it looks like, ooh, what's happened there?
A mistake up the road there. I think that was either Joshua or Thomas or something made a little bit of a mistake there. And they had to react. Every action has an equal opposite reaction. Not the reaction you want to have. Let him make it a run right now on Joshua, side by side, for battle from P11. Beyond the ball a little bit further up the road.
It's just biding his time, waiting for the opportunity. Seeing what moves he can make. Bashford's continuing to keep that fight alive. And just pushing with every ounce of that Alfa Romeo. But there's going to be a running out of resources soon enough. Who's going to be the first to yield? These two have duked it out, lap in, lap out. And they're kind of running out of options. Something's got to give.
They're not going to give, my friend Benjamin. They're not going to give, mate. They're racing because it's the final race. They're racing like there is no other race because exactly right. And then at the moment, Beyond's just lifted through that. Beyond said, I don't want to be a part of this, mate. I do not want to be a part of whatever that Lenny and Joshua are exchanging for Christmas presents this season.
Wants no part in it. I say that little mistake dropped him right down. Heads into the pits though. Maybe incurred a little bit of damage as a result, along with Hardwick for some needed repairs. That's going to be a few more cars dropping to the bottom of the field, which leaves a few top contenders. You got me, of course, many seconds ahead of the rest of the field. But more importantly, Tenak can still sit in championship winning position in a P3. Larson is behind and slowly clawing away at that gap, clawing away time. But just how much is it going to be worth it? Especially with Timbrinka, their teammate, lurking in the wings on softer compounds.
Well, Emma also got the fastest lap stolen away by Maximum Kloss, but that's plenty of time to go on 12 of 29. Look at the battle brewing. AJ, Cameron, and E2, Lapalline at the moment, is the DRS train master. That has to hold them all up behind him in the Haas. As you got AJ, doesn't look like he's going to do anything about it. If AJ doesn't be careful, he's got a McLaren of Cameron really pushing him behind there. AJ had mentioned before that he's been away from the game for a little bit there, has put the practice in, but AJ's AJ and still doing pretty strong there. He's on the hard tires, so he's holding on in the middle of a medium run sandwich.
Well, AJ is really in a rough spot. Well, if Searle didn't head into the pits, I was about to say, because he kind of had to balance the attack and defense as well as charging his own resources. You saw those lights flashing on and off, sort of recharging his resource where he can, his ERS. So he's really in a tough spot. But now he's kind of got that pressure off his back in order to fully attack Lapalainen, even though he's still only on the hards.
Yeah, does he? Too much, knowing that E2 has to come in at some point. You can see the traction coming out of the corner there. AJ's so much more confident on the power. He knows his tyres are going to stick. He knows that E2 Lapalina, his tyres are not going to stick. He knows at some point he's going to have to box. He knows at the moment he's going to have the DRS 8th gear up there, and he's going to make a run. Will E2 Lapalina really put up too much of a fight? I don't think so. Tuck in behind and live to see your alternative strategy. Use the DRS to your advantage. Get that car back in the pit lane there, change over your tyres and see how that pans out later on with the battle when AJ has to switch to a different compound.
AJ's got that move done initially, but is it going to stick? Lapalainen immediately fires it around the outside, but AJ's going to hold true to his line. He's going to box out that Haas, and you can see him weaving left, weaving right, looking for options. He nearly had that retake with the second DRS zone, but couldn't make it stick. So he has to bide his time.
That's the point, Ben, yeah. Because the tyres aren't going to work. You see AJ's much more confident through the corners. You can see, get on the power, you brake later, and get on the power earlier. You can see E2 how much times E2 is going to have to box, and E2 does. So very, very lucky. I like to see the fight, of course, from E2 Lapalainen. That's what you want to do, of course. You want to maximize your amount of speed. Jasper Ten Aken in P2 currently at the moment is about in DRS range of Kassan. And he also knows he's only 2 places, or essentially 1 place at this point, if he gets past, away from Emar. And at some point, they're going to have to box between those guys. Jasper has to be very, very careful, because look at this. Look at Larson. Larson's caught him up, mate. And Larson he smells Jasper Ten Aken for an evening stack here in Abu Dhabi.
He's waiting to see what he can really get out of this situation. As you got Kassan, you got Ten Aken, you got Larson. This 3-way fight is everything to play for. This literally is the championship hanging in the balance. With these 3 drivers it lies. Tembrinka's kind of boxed off the rest of the field. Oh. Ten Aken flies down the inside. Kassan has no choice but to yield.
Good work there from Jasper. But then again, look at this. Now, I have to say, there's one little element at play there that you don't see that in the audience there tuning in, that there is a couple of Danish drivers, of course. Emar is a Danish driver, and Larson's a Danish driver, so they're trying to work for their fellow countrymen. Remember that. Jasper's the sole Netherlands driver there, so he's also representing his country. I imagine the countrymen would kind of help you out, wouldn't they? Even though they're not the same team.
Yeah, but Tembrinka's heading into the pits. He's got no wingman in the picture anymore. This might be where the tables turn. Cook is suddenly immediately inherited the place of Tembrinka here. He's in P5. He's got that all-important position that he really needs to start making some differences for his teammate if he can catch up.
Yeah, he's the Dutch army, isn't it? Because it's the other Dutch driver and the other Mercedes. Come back out in P7. And Luke... He should be out in P7, correct? Yes, it is. Oh, just in P7, because Cameron was hunting him down around the corner. He's got to be sticking in ahead of Cameron. Good job, gets it done. And Jasper's all alone, isn't it? You know, the Dutch army's going to light off those flares, of course, those orange army. But geez, I almost feel like he's under an invasion there from the Danish army at this point.
Well, these drivers are still fighting for themselves at the end of the day. So Kassan and Larson are close. But are they going to be fighting with each other too much to care? They are closer in contention with one another, really. And with Ten Aken up in P2 and a big gap ahead in front of them, that's the question whether it's worth it to try and fight so aggressily.
Oh, come on, Benjamin. Mate, if you're an Aussie and I'm in P4 and I know I need something, I need to get past Jasper and help you out to win the championship, I would be there, mate. I'm patriotic. I'm pretty sure these drivers are. We don't know. We're speculating. But yes, mate, come on. There's a little bit of patriotic that'll kick into the nations here. But once again, who knows, mate? We're not down in the garages, are we?
Yeah, we can never really know what it's like from their perspective, only what we see in the box. And what we see in the box right now is a very tight pack from 2nd to 4th. Cook is about 10 seconds down, got quite a mountain to climb, but if he can win these next 13 laps, he might be in a very, very strong position to really disrupt and potentially swing the all-important points tally in someone's favor.
He'll get the DRS down here, but can't do anything too much about it. into the loopy of 14 currently at the moment. Get about your time, I'd say, for the rest of the Sector 3. I don't think Mr. Carson is going to try anything too greedy underneath the hotel. Around 19 and 20 currently at the moment, those corners. And then you make your way around straight away. Looks like Luke and Cameron are still battling it out tooth and nail behind there. But I want to keep it on this pit lane. So Cass is going to jump first on those hard tires. I was about to ask you, Ben, when are you going to go in the pit lane for the hard tires? Answered on cue.
Right on cue, as if it was the call perfectly being answered straight into the pits. This needs to be a perfect stop if he wants to be out on track quick. As I say, 2.2, it's pretty much perfect there from the Aston Martin crew. It's well done there. And he's going to be jumping back out, hopefully nice and quick to the rest of the field. He can't be affording to lose any positions.
Oh,
really.
It's going to be close if he can get out ahead of this battle. That's Prix around the corner there. They got to behind him, but oh, that's going to hurt a little bit, isn't it? You wanted just to time that a millisecond early so you can get ahead of both Cameron and Luke, but he's going to fight him off with the fresher tires. But remember, they are on 4 and 2 lap tires, so they're pretty fresh tires. That's a little bit painful for the strategy. But hey, you're in P7 and 17 of 29 in the race, and so you got plenty of time to go. AJ's on fire at the moment, and P11 looking to take that fastest lap. Remember, everybody, that Emar Durkovic needs to get the fastest lap and win the race in order to win the championship. That's if Jasper Ten Haken doesn't finish 4-4 higher. Currently at the moment, Jasper Ten Haken is in P2, but they still have to box.
They still have to box, and also hasn't considered the factor of Larson, or maybe he has, because now he's heading into the pits, really just trying to get that stop out ahead of time as quickly as he can.
This is crucial. How nail-biting will it be down there in the Mercedes pit lane? In and out those tires. Zoom, zoom. Done. Very great pit stop there. Back onto the medium tires to run them to the end. Where's he going to come out? But that's the key in traffic, isn't it? Because you've got a ton of cars coming around the corner here. You got a ton of cars. He's going to be zooming on by. There goes Luke. There goes Cameron. There goes Cass.
And it's really the one person.
Yeah, he's got tucked in behind him.
It's the one person you kind of want to be out of the field from. It's going to be the likes of Cook. And if your teammate is up in P4, that might be a bit of a fight to overcome. Now, Mir has got that big gap, so he can soak a little bit of the positional loss. He's got, well, 14 seconds to his name, but more importantly, he is one of the few drivers yet to stop out. So he's running out of time, and before long, he'll be running out of options unless he can leverage his teammate.
He's got time, I'd have to say. I'm looking at the timesheet at the moment. The gap to leader, of course, at Emar is, well, Lars is 12 seconds and change. He's made his pit stop. But Lenny Cook hasn't made his pit stop. He's 22 seconds. It takes a 20-odd second pit stop. So he should get out ahead of Lenny, but then Lenny's going to be his problem because Lenny's his teammate. So he's cleared the Merc in P4, which is crucial for him because Jasper, there he is, in the pit lane right now, because Jasper's in P7. And that's the interesting part right now. Because, yeah, now Emar can have Lenny Cook help him out because Emar's going to go in. And imagine Lenny Cook might go in the next lap.
Yes, Emir really just needs to use this space that he has effectively.
Oh, my apologies. I thought Emar went in. It was Larson. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I say needs to use that space to full effect. He's run those hards realistically as much as he can go, and at this point it's just downhill in terms of pace, especially without DRS to help him. He needs to get those rubbers swapped and use that time deficit now.
Yeah, but Carson putting pressure. This is a battle for P3 because they've already made the pit stops, so it's crucial here to have perhaps like a Jasper's in P6. Cassie's about to take P3. Done. But look at the background there. Jasper making a dive up the inside there. He got it done. He got it done on Larson. He's in P5. He knows he needs P4 or higher. It's 19 to 29, so we're okay. Plenty of time. But tell you what, that man's on a mission.
Yeah, he's hungry for it. He knows what he needs to do. His teammate yields, lets him go into P4, plays the wingman game.
Yeah, he's going to cover him off as well. And Emar's in. Here it is. The lead of the race. Now, where are they all on track? Emar should be absolutely fine there. He's going to be able to clear off Lenny Cook.
And he's
Still has
going
the
on
box.
softs. He's
Wow,
going for
that's
the
a
fastest
gamble.
lap. He went for the hards for so long that he's in the
Well, he
viable
needs it,
window.
doesn't he?
He's in the
He
viable window
needs-
for softs.
A fastest lap and a first place. And Jasper needs to be 4th or higher. Crunch those numbers right now, my friend.
It's going to be very, very close. This can hinge all on Lenny Cook here, because Lenny Cook, I believe, has yet to take a stop too. Remember, he lost all that time because he had a spin early in the race. He still has yet to
Yeah,
pit.
Larson's going to be a big play because Larson's going to make a run on Luke. He has got it done. Now, Larson is the biggest, what do you call it?
Wild
The
card.
spanner in the mix here. Because if Larson gets past Jasper, but the thing, this is it. Luke has got to be his defender. Luke has to be Jasper's defender. And Larson's going to make a run on the inside here. Maybe very much job done. He's going to come back in a DRS attack here.
I mean, you just had to look at the straight and how these two continue to fight. Larson had the DRS, dropped behind, then dropped forward again, went for another move, all in the same straight. Larson is hungry. Larson wants this arguably more than anyone else on track right now. Even though they aren't necessarily in the title fight, they know that this is the last round and this is everything to play for. That aggression we love to see, because that is a driver out on a mission and he's putting absolute fire down on the track.
Benjamin, I'm going to talk to these drivers later. Lenny Cook's got a box right now. That's going to be interesting where Lenny's going to come back out. Lenny should be, well, he's going to be right behind these guys. But I'll tell you what, I think Larson, obviously, he's doing it for Denmark. He wants Emar to win for a national pride. I think that's what he wants. And if he can deny Jasper that P3, push him down further, that is what is going to help. He's, he's national hero, perhaps, at this point. Emar. I'm just creating a storyline here, a script, but I'll tell you what, I would do it if I was a driver, mate.
But as it stands, Tanakin's P3. Hardwick is out. Something's happened to him. Is that a pit retirement? Couldn't tell you.
It is, I believe, it's pit retirement, exactly. He's entered the pit lane with some sort of problems, which is great. So we won't see a safety car or rain, unfortunately. But we will see 8 laps left. So, Emar in the right place. He has not the fastest lap, but he's setting purple. I'd imagine right now it'll be the fastest lap because he's on the soft tires. It'll get that one. So he's got everything he needs to do, ticking all the boxes he can to win the championship. The problem is he cannot control the fact that Jasper ten Haken's in P3. Jasper ten Haken needs to be 5 or under, 4 or under. 4th place will have in the championship. It's up to Larson right now to spoil the surprise. Is that Glock? No, it could be. Is that Larson?
And there we go. Say the fastest lap, almost predictably falling to Amir there. What if Cook accidentally sets the fastest lap in his bid to get back up to the field? Imagine.
He won't do it. I would imagine Team Orders a play. Lenny was working. You'd imagine if he does that, he spoils it. Cameron's going to go in the pit lane. Now, it's also up to what do you do? If you're Luke, does Luke have enough time? I don't think Luke has enough time to box and come back out in P10 at least or higher to steal the fastest lap. Now, Emar's going even quicker, set another fastest lap. Because that's the thing, isn't it? Your teammate at play, because Jasper's in a nice place. Luke can box and get the fastest lap, but if he boxes right now, he's going to be outside the top 10. So he can't do it to help his teammate out. Jasper's looking good. I'm more concerned about Larson. Larson has 7 laps, and Larson's pace is pretty good, my friend. He's about 0.3 a lap quicker right now than Jasper.
Larson's pretty much got the youngest mediums out on track right now, which is really going to be an important fact, especially as we get to the later laps of the race, where those mediums, as good as they are at being a great middle ground between longevity and pace, are going to start to fall away. Not as aggressively as the softs might, but the softs in these drivers' hands serve a very different purpose, especially with these stakes and the context at hand for the AlphaTauri up in P1. But those mediums do experience a little bit of drop-off, and in Larson's case, that will be what he's counting on, is because even with that not really being a factor just yet, he's still clawing away at that gap to the Mercedes, and this is where we're going to see the juggle.
Oh, I tell you what, right now, I would say, now's the time. Luke, you got a box. I would make this crazy strategy called Vols Toto Wolf. I know he's catching, at the moment, the Red Bull. But I think he has to box right now to allow enough time to get a possible couple of overtakes. If he's hovering around the P11, P12 mark, which he should come out, all he needs to get the fastest lap and steal it away, and Iman cannot win. Simple as that. Even if Larson gets past Jasper, and even if Peter Locke gets past Jasper, it's not going to be enough. So you got to have your teammate here and steal the fastest lap away. Maybe that's something, but you need time to do it, remember? Because even on the fresh softs, he'll gain a lot of speed. But if he comes out P12, that's a couple of overtakes to do it. That's a lot of time. I don't know, my friend. What are you thinking about the team, or are you thinking about Drivers' Championship right now?
I don't know. It's too close to call. But
because Larson's right on the back of Jasper now, mate. This is it. What do you think about Jasper going through his mind? Jasper knows, hey, how much of a fight do I put up here? A P4 is enough. He's got a 3-second gap back to the Red Bull. Does he really want to fight that much of Larson here? But also, he knows that it's going to be, what is it, going to be even tied on points there? Fastest lap for Emar, first place, done. 4-4 higher for Ten Hacken. I don't know how to crunch those numbers. And is Luke going in, or Luke has spun? Luke has spun! Luke has made a mistake, and that's it. So he's got to come in the pit lane right now and get some fresh boots on there.
That wingman
but what about Larson?
Fallen away very, very quickly. Now, I think if I was Ten Hacken, I would be scared, but not too scared. Crunching the numbers a little bit more, we say that even if Emir gets first with the fastest lap, if Ten Hacken's in fourth, he still gets the championship. He scrapes it, but he still gets it.
He's got to yield here. He's got to yield, yeah. Don't put up too much of a fight.
No choice but to yield. But really, I would be worried for the fact that if I make a mistake, if I crack under this immense pressure to stay in this position, Locke is 1.5 seconds behind. That's something that we haven't really paid attention to up until this point. It's a bit of a wild card in there is that Red Bull. Now, he's going to be really sort of an edge case, but that being said, if Ten Hacken makes a mistake, drops behind even a little bit of squirreliness under the throttle, it's over.
I know. But we heard in the post-race interviews, did we, during the qualifying session, Jasper seemed like he was the cool, calm, smooth operator, didn't he? He seems like he wasn't that stressed. It seemed like Emar was more stressed than anybody else. At the moment, you got to remember, too, if Emar does make a mistake and throw that one away, then Jasper Ten Hacken has this one. Jasper Ten Hacken has to sit here and try to... He's out of the DRS, so to me, my friend, he's not pushing, but that gap, as you mentioned, to the Red Bull is the crucial marker that he needs to be paying attention to because he can't afford a P5. He needs a P4.
He needs that P4 to lock the championship in, even by a hair's breadth. He needs that. And he's going to
But I'll tell you what, Lenny Cook's also flying in the background, but I don't think Lenny Cook has enough time to catch this party. He's about to be on the back of AJ. He's about to overtake AJ as the fresh boots. We'll see about that one. But it's for me a little bit late for Lenny Cook, isn't it? Because he's got, what, 5 seconds and about 8 seconds to gain in a couple of laps. So as fast as Lenny Cook can be, it's not going to be enough to help his teammate out.
Yeah, it's unfortunately just too little too late, really, for the AlphaTauri team. If he didn't have that spin early days, we would be singing a completely different tune. But the reality is, this is a recovery effort, and he has done absolutely amazing in that effort. However, with the saying that gets tipped on the rear, and this is right in the middle of the track, coming around the left-hand corner. We nearly had a full safety car there.
Yeah, that could have thrown a spanner in the mix. This is exciting. And we were right at the start, at the top of the hour, weren't we, during qualifying and stuff like that? And thank you very much, NordVPN and SwiftX Motor Racing Series, that it's going to come down. It was coming down to teammates, really, to help out teammates, wasn't it? And look what's happened. So Luke's made a mistake. He had a spin. Lenny Cook's made a mistake. He's had a spin. They're P8, P10. Emar and Jasper, P1 and P4. They're right where they need to be. Fortunately, Emar, that as much as he can possibly do, is not enough. And the time is tick-tocking. His championship is slipping through his fingers, and there's nothing more he can do about it.
It's just a matter of time. I think that without the mistakes and a few more laps, we would be in a very, very different position to where we are now. But what we have in front of us is a likely case of that final championship race, while simultaneously going in a way that some might have predicted, it still was nothing like we expected.
I still think a little bit earlier that Luke should have boxed. And then probably on the fresh boots came out with this time right now to make his way back up, get the fastest lap, steal it away from Emar. And even if Jasper was to lose out the Peter Lock, he would still win. That would be covering off your teammate. But it's too late now, of course, because he had a spin. And he's just on a little bit of recovery drive in the back of E2 Lapalina right now for the battle for P7. Tell you what's been very, very great at the moment there, Benjamin, is that, look at that, we don't have to even crunch numbers and penalties, mate, because there's only 2 of them at the moment, 3 seconds between Joshua and Cameron.
Yes, it certainly makes our life a little bit easier there.
We'll make that another one now.
Oh no!
Oh, this is big time trouble right now for Jasper, because Peter Locke right now, he could steal this one away. Think about it. It's 4.4 seconds away from Jasper. If he can get that down to under 3 seconds, that is championship done. What has gone wrong?
It's all of a sudden, the tables have turned. Locke needs to get that gap down if he wants to. Locke knows what he needs to do now. He can see ahead at the danger that Tenakin is suddenly under. And knows
Let's have the first
full
sectors.
well.
18 threes each. But Peter needs to shave about 2/10, 3/10. He's down about 4.1. Let's see the second sector times. It's going to be crucial here. He's 4 seconds, and 1 second is not that hard to take in 2 laps. It's all about the second sector. Yeah, got a moment there. A little bit of a call up there, isn't it, in the Mercedes garage. Okay, 3.68 and 3.7. So it was a pickup call there for Jasper. He has covered him off. What about third sector? A bit of pressure right now must be creeping in on the Dutch driver right now, Jasper in P4.
It's a tough one to call. It's still too tight to call for really anyone's corner. I'm worried. I would be worried if I was in that Mercedes position.
That's very unusual too for Jasper to make those mistakes, because all the other drivers surrounding him, Emal's made 0 off tracks. 1 off track for Casson. Larson, 0. He's made 3. Peter's made 1. AJ's made 2. So look at that the top 5, top 6. He's the one that's made the most amount of mistakes. So he could tell you right now the stress is definitely kicking in Jasper, but he only has 1 more lap to hold off. And I'm not quite sure as quick as Peter can be, as shaving, 1.2 seconds off in the dying stages of the race is a miracle. But then again, we've seen miracles performed here in Abu Dhabi in the past.
Yeah, we've seen prior magic. Now, one thing for Tenakin to worry about is if he's got enough magic left in the tank. The fog lights are out. He's recharging. He knows he's on the ropes in terms of time. But can he just eke it out? Eke out that 1 more lap to remain on advantage and keep that P4. A championship decided literally by a little black and white flag. Wow.
Yeah, I told you it was going to come down the final couple of laps of this race, didn't I? It has. But you have to go to Emar, of course, because he's done everything he needed to do. He got the fastest lap and he's going to get the race win. But unfortunately, what is behind him is not in his control. So the championship will slip through his fingers. Of course, that little bit of an early retirement has cost him that championship. But he has to be very, very happy to settle in that P2 position, because he knows very much he might have won that championship if he didn't go into that retirement. But he doesn't have too much more to go, do we? Well, we get a little bit of email time there for the fashion statement on the soft tires. But then again, Luke has done it. Luke, I tell you what. I told you, Luke is going for the fastest lap. He's going to steal it away from Emar anyway. So Jasper's definitely got this one. Teammate at play for the Mercedes.
Has he got the fastest lap?
He should have it. He was going for it. He's on soft tires. He's in P10. He's flying as well on the last lap. He should steal this one away. I'd imagine he'll steal this one away.
I'll have to wait and see. But one thing is for sure, that regardless of whether it pans out on the championship, Mir did not put a foot wrong. He had pretty much a perfect race, finishes with many, many seconds on the clock ahead of the competition, and as he comes to cross the line and win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix,
he spins to win.
fires it around, but more importantly, he's done everything he can. Now, all he can do is pray that what he did was enough.
Oi! Look at that. What a way to spend an expensive car park. But guess what? It's fine because 2022 is over. 2023 cars will be the ones you want. Can that fastest lap be stolen by Luke? I don't know.
He's recharging his ERS. I don't know if it's going to be it. But more importantly, Tanakan keeps the P4. He did just enough.
No, he's spun anyway. Luke's done. You're right. Jasper has definitely done enough. Luke's not going to steal that fastest lap away. Doesn't matter any money. Because Jasper Tanakan is your World Championship driver for the SwiftX Motor Racing Series, sponsored by NordVPN. Congratulations. The Dutch are back. Well, the Dutch are dominating right now in motorsports. You are the world champion.
And I think it was, in fact, by a single point. A single point decides the championship here. Because you think that fastest lap was all that split P4 and P5. So according to my commentator napkin math, Jasper Ten has won the championship, has won SwiftX Series 1 by a single point.
Somebody clip that one. Commentator napkin math. I like it. You never heard that one before, have you? Oh, Benjamin, it's going to be very, very sad to come to a closure as there's a massive car park of crashed cars that are all excited, of course. And why not? Emar had to do everything he had to deliver. Of course, he's going to taste that bubbly stuff and the non-alcoholic bubbly stuff. Joshua Bashford will get your Cody's driver of the day, but I'd have to say I'd have to give it to E2 Lapalina. He started in P16 and finished in P7. Final celebrations on the podium. You know, Emar will be a little bit disappointed. He won't be lifting up that driver's trophy, but he gave it everything he possibly could as he motors his way. I have to wait for your pictures to come up there too, Ben, at the moment before I try to tune it there timely. Mine's just a little bit ahead, mate, you know. But, wow. Excitement for the team. Now, gone from Ferrari and switches on over to a AlphaTauri. So he's gone from enemy territory into the Red Bull and bulled his way right up to the top. Got it done on the top of the timesheet and the top of this race, but does not win the World Championship. Jasper will, but gets everything he needed to go. Benjamin.
And it's really a great job there. I don't really have words for how this has gone. I did not expect so much ferocity to come from the drivers. Of course, they did want the championship. They wanted to give their absolute all in the end of the race. And end of the championship, more importantly, you can see that Amir with the fastest lap by a sizable margin, in fact, 124.9. Next closest driver was, I believe, Luke Timbrinker. There you go. So 125.3 to next closest driver. But there you go. It's a race win, but it's going to be Jasper Ten. And we'll, of course, talk to him hopefully in a second as we just sort of, before we go, we reflect. We reflect on the season we had, and what an amazing season it has been. I mean, it was a crazy race, crazy season, absolute insanity, insane. Despite all the hardships, despite, say, the hurdles that we faced along the way and changes as we went through, it was still amazing to have the season as great as it was.
You're absolutely right, Benjamin, because if you actually look at all the Formula One esports casts around the world, including the official Formula One esports cast, just with a small team, a small community here at SwiftX Motor Racing, of course, it's a small team, but massive hearts. Some of the absolute, if not best production you're ever going to find for Formula One esports on the planet has been produced all season long. And you know for a fact, as well as I do, Ben, that we've been involved in a lot of different racing leagues over the season that I've just been surprised by the amount of quality. And it's not just the actual production quality that everybody puts on behind the scenes. It's the driving as well. It's been amazing. It's been brilliant. It's fantastic. Thank you, obviously, to Digital Motorsports Grid Finder, of course, to find those drivers, to fill the grid. And, of course, a massive thank you to NordVPN, as I said, because I wouldn't be able to tell you that right now using a VPN in the Middle East without being censored. So, yeah, exactly, Ben. What a season.
Well, so we've got a few drivers and a few characters from the season to talk to. I think it's only fair that we talk to, well, the winner of the Drivers' Championship. Let's have a quick talk to him. So,
Jasper. Sorry, go ahead, Jasper.
Yeah, I mean, man, what a race. I mean, I'm so happy to have clutched it in the end. It was I knew I needed a P4, and then it didn't matter what Amir did. So to get a P4, got a bit tight in the end with with the penalty and everything. But I'm very happy to have won it. Yes.
So your heart rate was 120 beats per minute before the penalty kicked in, and then all of a sudden it went to 155 beats per minute. Because you're like, I need to kick it up again because you had a beat a little bit down the road there. Mate, just the whole race, how was it? Like, sweaty, how are you feeling? Like, the excitement of being world champion here at SwiftX.
Yeah, I mean, from the start until the first corner, first lap, everything, it's just so different than what you're used to do. Because I knew I needed before to win. And usually when you race, as a race driver, you just try to overtake and go for every gap that you see. But this time it was very different for me. I just tried to stay out as many problems as I could. I tried not to fight people too much. I felt like at times driving with the handbrake on almost. Like I don't want to spin, don't want to get penalties. It's so different than what I used to do all season. But when I saw that P4 was doable, I was like, okay, I just need to bring it home, get the P4, then it doesn't matter what Amir does. And I think a big shout out to my teammate as well, who helped me out massively.
Oh, yeah.
He did amazing.
We will talk about that teammates helping each other out a little bit further into this one. I saw that when you were talking about that little battle, like Larson was just screaming through the field there at the moment, and I saw you just like, no, you didn't want to get into that fight with Larson. Let him through there. Settle for the P4, knowing you had the gap to the Red Bull. But yeah, but Benjamin, going over that teammate battle, how did that come in? That was a massive factor at the start, wasn't it? And then it didn't really work out too much for both the drivers at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a close one. Yeah, I know it was for you, Ben, but it was it was close. I saw Lenny stayed out at the end. He was P2. He didn't box until very late, so I saw he was still on the road, and I was a bit scared that he might do a Perez.
Sorry to cut you off. All I remember, I was kind of like saying in the casting box, like Luke was up through the field at that point. He's your teammate, and your Dutch teammate, the only Dutch drivers, of course. You're surrounded by Danish drivers. He could have boxed and got a fastest lap to steal that away from Emar. So even if you would have dropped a P5, that fastest lap might be all the difference. Was that something you guys were in communication with? Because he ended up boxing because he had a spin, and then went for the fastest lap at the end, didn't quite get it. What was the communication there?
Actually, yeah, of course, we knew every scenario, and we knew this was the case. So when I got the penalty, which I think still was undeserved, because I think I got a double warning in the pit entry, because I only got one on-track warning, and then suddenly I got 3 apparently. But let's say it would have I would have kept the penalty. We knew to make sure at least I got the P5. He had to box for the fastest lap, and that's what he did. He saved up his ERS, boxed for the fastest lap, and then he started his attempt. He got the fastest purple sector 1, fastest purple sector 2.
He spun, unfortunately.
Yeah, but that was the last lap. But a lap before that, he got the fastest sector 1 and fastest sector 2. But then there was a Haas was spun in sector 3, so he had to lift off. But he would have, if Björn didn't spin, he would have got it in lap 28
That's what
already.
It was, Ben. Remember when I was screaming that out in the background? I was like, he's going for it. And then all of a sudden it didn't happen. But yeah, either way, you guys were in great communication. So Mercedes were obviously very, very working together there. So Toto Wolff is happy. He's not throwing Bo's headphones around. He's going to be gifting Bo's headphones, no doubt, to you guys. But Jasper, it seemed to me tonight, this is as cool, calm, and collective as you are, that you were under the first time massive stress. Is that correct?
Yeah, just to finish off quickly, like on the teammate part, he's really a warrior, because in lap 1 the safety car came out and he was collected in it, and he broke his rear wing. He got a severely damaged rear wing, and you can't replace it or fix it in the pit lane, so he had to do the whole race with the broken rear wing. And yeah, he kept his space up there with the fast guys, even with the half a rear wing. So I really give another shout out to him. And then the stress, I mean, after I saw P4 was quite clear, like I said, I tried to drive very safely. I knew P4 was enough, so it actually was not too bad with the stress until the last few laps with the penalty. It was a bit, the heart rate went a bit higher. But I think when I saw the P4 was very realistic, I just like lowered the pace, went to like 80% of my real pace, and just made sure I didn't spin, didn't crash, no penalties, just drive it home. So I think Amir was under a lot more stress during the race. I felt quite comfortable.
Well, I have to talk to him about it because he was like 6 seconds and change up the road there, putting in lap by lap. But that absolutely fantastic. You mentioned that. I didn't realize the rear wing damage that your teammate had, and that shows you that Dutch courage, doesn't it? Because we've seen that before with Max Verstappen getting damage in his car and just slicing his way and getting it all done when we need to. Congratulations, mate. You are the world champion of SwiftX. So I told you that trophy may very well be on your shelf. You already measured the shelf that you expected.
Well, I mean, expected. I think it's. I would be lying if I said it comes as a surprise, because Emir only got P2 and 2 points in the final standing. He lost out on 2 points whilst doing 4 less races. So I think everyone knows realistically that it could have been very different if he did all the same events as I did. But yeah, it didn't happen, and it went the way it did. And yeah, I'm very happy we could win it. Yes.
And I like the fact that you guys were working together as teammates. We didn't really know how that was all going to pan out at the top of the show. We were kind of like going, you know, are there going to be like a number one multi-21 situation between the drivers? Are going to work out? It's good to see that it was. So Luke had your back, and obviously Luke is a fantastic driver. Took the extra pit stop there, tried to do that a little bit at the end to help you out. He still finished in P10. And as you said, big shout out to him for sticking. And we once again, you're the maybe the only Dutch drivers on the grid there, and you were surrounded by a whole bunch of Danish drivers. And to me, it was interesting because I think Larsen, even though he's not in the same team as Emar, I think for Denmark he was trying to deny any possibility of you guys, or you know, obviously the Dutch drivers, from getting the race victory and helping his team out. I don't know. I'm making up the script, but let's just add that excitement to it.
I don't know. I mean, it could be, yeah. But he's a very fast guy, so I don't know if he was really helping him here. I think he was just faster than me on 80%.
Help him. If I was Dutch, I'd be helping you. I said this before with Ben. But Ben, yes, but hang around, of course, because we're going to bring you back in. We'll have to talk to the other drivers. Ben, would you like to bring in anybody else?
Yeah, so, well, I think I just really wanted to sort of cap off by just saying that it's that consistent performing, regardless of the pressure, regardless of how it panned out on the day. So day in, day out, week in, week out, sprint, race, wet or dry, the points were coming in, and it all stacked up to the point where here, Abu Dhabi, SwiftX Series 1 Drivers Champion by a single point. And I think that's it's almost like a fairy tale story. So celebrate, mate. You earned it. You did brilliantly. Any sort of final words for anyone watching?
No, maybe not final words, but I would like to finish it off with a massive shout out to everyone working on SwiftX, everyone behind the scenes. They know who they are: Amir, Lenny, Bashi, Liam, and of course to you guys as well. You know, you put on a great performance every week. The guys behind the scene put in a lot of work and time. And all I have to do really is show up on Wednesday and do what I love most, and that's racing. So I would like to end it with a massive shout out to everyone working on this project, which has been a huge success, I think.
Congratulations, Jasper. You are the SwiftX Motor Racing World Champion for the Formula One Series. And final question to you. Well, this motivation, is that going to give the Netherlands a chance to win the World Cup?
Yeah, let's. I think we have a shout. You know, win on Friday against Argentina, and then go from there. But let's hope so.
Right. Well, you've been winning everything so far this season, so it's looking good. Congratulations, my friend. Go celebrate with your team. You've done everything you needed to deliver today.
Thank you, mate.
And of course, I say, for every big win, there is another who has come so close and really just brought the thunder, and especially today didn't put a foot wrong. In fact, let's talk to our race winner, Mir. How are we doing, mate? Of course, you did a brilliant job out there on track, I want to say. You really just put everything right. You did everything right in that situation, I want to say. How are you feeling on the whole?
I am feeling fine actually. I don't know what to say. I think Jasper deserved the championship. He's been very consistent throughout the season. You can say I have been consistent, but I did leave for 4 races, and that's an inconsistency in itself. It's completely my own fault. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's a mistake that I left for 4 races. I'm happy I did because I came back to this, and these last 4 races have been more than amazing to me. It's been an absolute thrill to come back to racing. But with that said, I think in the past couple of seasons I've done league racing, I have been winning a lot. I have maybe been too fast for the leagues I'm racing in, to ego boost myself, and I have never had the ambitions of going esports because I have other plans in life, and I think this will be my last race I'll ever race because I've been so humbled by this experience and I love it so much. So
Ema,
that's how
we
I
would like
feel.
you back.
I feel happy.
We want you back, of course. And,
I am gonna
yeah.
stay.
Don't
I'm
worry
gonna
about
stay.
esports, mate. That's just a whole different like career move. And
My
no,
don't
this is
worry.
more fun.
I'm still gonna stay in SwiftX and try and improve it as best as I can. I think I can do a lot much better stuff for SwiftX when I'm not racing because it takes so much from me.
Of course, it takes a lot from everybody, and that's good to see. When everybody can drive, please drive, and if you can't, don't drive, and just be a part of the community, but hang out there. And
Exactly.
it's good to see. I mean, I know you're negotiating your contract there. Ferrari didn't pay you enough money, so you went to the AlphaTauri team. Hope they, you know, that extra, like, you're not going to be buying a Ferrari at the moment, mate, but you can be buying some fancy sports car in your garage, of course, there for that new negotiated contract. Yeah, championship could definitely mean yours, but once again, life is more important at the end of the day, and taking breaks is when you need to take breaks. But what a showdown, mate, towards the end. You delivered everything you need to do, and obviously a big shout out to your teammate there, Lenny. Now, what's that strategy you guys did? You guys stretched those hard tires 19 and 20 laps to the end, then switched straight to the softs. Is that your plan at the start?
Yes, of course. We figured out in Brazil that the ideal strategy would be medium to soft for us, and we couldn't do it, of course, because of the rain. So we thought, okay, we want to do something with the softs. So in Abu Dhabi, we found out the softs are amazing. So we decided to do it again, and for me, it worked out. I mean, there's nothing else to say to it. I think in the end, it was pretty equal between going to mediums and softs. I think softs was a bit more risky strategy. Because you really need to push as much as you can. And in the end there, when I was 12 seconds ahead, after I got fastest lap, I just decided, okay, I'm just going to calm myself down, I don't have to spin, and I just want to bring the car home.
And you set the fastest lap on lap 21 as well, out of the 29 lap race. So you did that way early, and even though there were some challenges at that one. Domination, my friend. You did everything you could, right? I mean, there's nothing more you could have possibly done.
Yep, and that's why I'm not mad, because I did the best I could, and of course it wasn't enough, but I did maximize everything in the last 3 races, absolutely everything, and that's why I can't be mad. And I think Jasper deserves it more for his consistency throughout the season, and big congratulations to him. I'm really happy for him. I think he's truly an amazing guy. I've been friends with him a long time, and you know what? It's kind of hard not to be mad. Not to be happy for him. Sorry, that's what I meant. It's kind of hard to be mad as well.
Second in the championship, my friend, after you are the defending champion, isn't bad at all. Like, once again, with the little retirement and back out of retirement, is definitely admirable. Absolutely, for sure. I'd like to see that showdown between yourself and Jesper back again. Of course, you've got like the likes of Casson and Peter, AJ, E2, Lenny Cook, of course, is on fire recently. And by the way, Lenny Cook was doing his best to help you out as a teammate in this one, but he had a spin as well as the teammate.
He had contact with cars, which put him out of the race, basically.
Okay, though that were your helpers in this one. That was like, all you could do is be up front and control the race, was what you did. Then you needed your teammates to kind of like interfere with that one at that point, isn't it? And same thing that was occurring with Jasper, but at that point didn't play out for anybody.
Yeah.
Well, Ema,
I don't know.
It sounds like I mean, we love you in the league, of course. You're our boss at this point. You do all the fat. And by the way, everybody out there in the SwiftX, sponsored by NordVPN Digital Motorsports, those graphics that you did, my friend, were fancy, weren't they? Even Benjamin and I was talking about how impressed we were.
I mean, it's not only me. I get help from Bashi and Lenny and Jasper. They all give me ideas, and they you know, they always make it better than what I was thinking, because I'm not creative. I'm just logical, and you know, I think of something, and you know, we pass ideas around, and in the end, we get what we get.
So how do people sign up for the next season of SwiftX? Where do they click?
Well,
What's the button you clicked?
You can. Well, that's a good point actually, because we were planning to advertise it after. But if you really want to,
No,
if you
we'll do it
right now
after, it's
looking,
fine. Yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
we have a plan for it.
Yeah,
and everything.
All right, Benjamin.
I think it's just a more general point that I want to make, and one that you brought up pretty excellently. It's the point of passion. At the end of the day, when you talk about that break for 4 races, you're sort of referring to it as a mistake. You refer to it in some ways as like, yes, it was needed, but it was an inconsistency. Now the thing is, this is a sport. This is an industry of passion, and sometimes it takes that break to revitalize that passion. And is whether it's you as a driver or you as part of a team, you as part of a league. You at least showed us on track that even after that 4 race break, you are just as much of a weapon and just as much of a very scary opponent on the track, even after a hiatus. But I think it speaks more to the fact that this is something that you and everyone in the team does out of love. It's a passion project at the end of the day, and something that I'm tearing up. No, something that you put a lot of heart and time into.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the championship, it was a mistake by me to hold the break, but I don't see it as my mistake. I just felt like I really needed it, and it was good to have for me personally, mentally, physically. So, but I think coming back again, it's just, you know, I think I'm burned out of the game.
I think everybody's teared up at the moment, aren't they?
I don't know. I think people are happy that I'm gone. They can.
Yeah, but
the
that's why
races
we
will finally be
exactly
interesting.
have
You
a
gotta
little bit of
admit,
a
it was
break.
kind of boring to see me. Let's see how many wins I have. I have 9 wins out of 16 races. You gotta admit that it was.
You
a
got
bit...
that stats like written on your wall, don't you? At the moment, that you mind.
I'm quite proud of them. But,
yeah, but hey, mate, have you beaten Australia in the World Cup?
Yeah.
Well,
I knew I was going to throw that one in there, didn't I, mate? I had to, of course, because that's the only time we're ever going to beat you at the.
You got to remember, we're a lot of Danes in the grid, so you might not be popular during the between the drivers.
I'm sure that you got a little bit of Danish love to be back for the next season, of course, and of course that's a break that's everybody is well earned, deserved. Of course, Christmas has come for you guys in the top 3, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the other drivers. And by the way, just like a question to you, Imar. I mean, outside of you in the league, who has been your most impressive driver? Who would be your overall, most improved driver in this league, the SwiftX, over the season?
Most improved driver. That's kind of tough. But I would say, I mean, I think if it's not me or Jasper, I would probably
Can't
say
be you guys. It has to be someone
yeah.
else. Yeah.
I mean, we have Edu. He has impressed me with the P3, but I think the guy who impressed me the most is I think that has to be AJ with the win he got in I don't remember what race it was. Monza. Yeah. I think that was very impressive.
That, by the way, Ben. I didn't script that, but yeah.
I think AJ has always had the pace. He just missed the consistency. I think he definitely deserved the win this season, and I'm happy for him. Also, when I watched the stream, I was quite happy he won, especially because we had.
He didn't unfortunately win on those penalties, but it was reversed later on. Yeah, AJ finished in P6 after starting in P9, and AJ of course had multiple issues with the game crashing as well too, which is hopefully.
Yeah, I mean he's always had some problems, and he's always been so close of winning, even against me. I remember in 2021, a lot of the times he has been pushing me, and I think he's the underdog here.
I have another question for you, because I was talking to Ben about that in the stream that you guys will be watching about later there. Now, I know that Larsen's Dutch, okay? I know that Peter's Dutch.
Larsen is Danish.
Danish, yeah. I mean, Danish, sorry, my apologies, yeah. and Peter's Danish. Were they trying as nationality there as patriotic to try to deny Jasper places? Let me know, honestly. Come on.
Honestly, I just think they raced their own race. They wanted. I mean, Larsen has had some difficulties as well. He has been. He came in the start. He had a little bit of a shit show. Then he took a long break, and then now he came back and he finally finished in the podium. I think he was racing for his own sake. And as well as Peter. I mean, I don't think they were thinking, okay, I gotta do this for the other Danish fellow guy. So I think they just raced their own race and, were trying the best.
Yeah, I think just
for their own sake.
Just sort of working in their own lane. But I think one thing and a sort of a final sentiment before we round out is that everyone on the track did amazing. And I know you said about to say with final races and talks of this and that, and say whatever form it takes, be an honor to be working alongside you. Hopefully into future seasons. I'm certainly looking forward to where this project goes. But thank you, mate. Thank you.
Now I can focus 110% on it instead of 90% of the driving and 10% the rest. So,
thank you. Is all we can really
I have a big smile on my face right now. I'm so happy.
But we are.
Yep. Thank you for commenting this amazing season. It has been truly amazing working with you guys. A lot of the drivers love you.
And there we go. That is, of course, Amir Durkovic. And that is almost in a bittersweet fashion the end of the season. Now, we do have, of course, Season 2, Series 2 on the way. And more details will be released on that in due time. But I think before we go on too long, before we get teary-eyed, for the final time for Series 1, from myself and Mr. Dean Biggles, it's been an honor, it's been a pleasure, and we'll hopefully see you again very soon as we get into the second season of the series. But for now, it's going to be goodbye, at least for the time being.